Hello everyone, today I wanted to talk about flow. What flow is when you use your models and your level design in order to kind of control the player where they're going. Kind of use them to determine how fast or slow the level goes based off of hints and stuff you give the player, or how many obstacles you put in their way. So right now, if I were to do this, start, player start right here. If I put a player start right there, you set the game mode, then I hit play. It's pretty straightforward. I can run down here and then go all the way through the level. And I know the room's right here, right there, and so on and so forth. But when you start putting in other meshes and stuff, it's important to keep track of what kind of flow you've given to your level. So right here, it's pretty simple. I go across, go over, turn, and then I've got a big room over here with a door on the end. So to make it simple, we're going to use the cube grid to do this. So if I were to start placing models, I would want them to be used for player fighting, for fun, and for leading. So if I was in here, I want to give the player either some kind of cover, so that way they can crouch behind and fight. It doesn't have to be right against the door, but it has to be in plain sight so they can use it. So a simple way to do that would be like add a pillar here that they could hide behind and use that to shoot the opponent. And if you want a smart AI, you want to give the AI the ability to hide behind some stuff too. Simple way to do that is to add some pillars. It doesn't block the flow of the level and allows them to get through real quick. The difference is if somebody were to start placing walls inside of here, but they didn't pay attention to what they're doing. This may not seem too bad, but what this has done is it's gone from being a straight path that I can go through, I go and fight and then get across, to I now have to fight and then I have to go around the level. If you're wanting them to do that, that's fine. But if you're not paying attention to that, instead of them being go through, go between the pillars, fight, go through, making this a nice, quick room, unless they want to explore a little, to now I've got distractions and places I have to go. And in some cases, if I take it right here, do that, and I've put another door over here, but I haven't changed anything to really tell the doors apart. I have some dude over here fighting, and then both of these doors are there, but only this one's unlockable. As soon as the player goes in here and they get into a fight, they'll take out both enemies, and then if they happen to go to this door, nothing will happen because there's no path there. It's blocked off. So now they have to figure out, okay, so can I go through this one? So there was no indication to tell them that. So simple ways I've shown to do this before are to drop little lights over here to show that this is the path you go. And another way is if you're in combat, you could have it to where you get in here, you start fighting, and then another person busts this door open and they start shooting you from there, and then that door just stays open. So that way they know, okay, so that door's closed, this door's open, I'm supposed to go down this path. You subconsciously told them that without ever saying that. Another simple way is to, if you drop a door here and you want to use the specific rotation of the door, if it's a single door, you'd actually have it open away from the door that you're heading towards. So right here, if it kind of blocks off their view, just even if it's just for a moment, then they see that door over there first. That can be used properly. Games like Mirror's Edge used some of this to actually tell the player, okay, so the door might be that way. It's used quite often in games that are all about that speed run. But yeah, so this would be really bad flow. You've got some cool gameplay mechanics going on here, but because you're giving the player mixed signals, they don't know which path to go down. Which, as long as you do it right, it can be fine, but it's something to keep an eye on. But I would say what would be a bigger worry is over in rooms like this. Is because if I go over here and you start placing rooms inside of this big area, maybe you're wanting to have nice little area the player has to fight around or even sneak around. But the thing is if you're doing something like this, you don't only need to design the layout for it, you also need to design how the rooms connect and what they're telling the player on top of the models that are going in there. So if I want the player to end up over here, I need to find a way to lead them from over here to over here without them getting lost in the level. And a good way to do that would be to take these rooms and really make this room kind of unique. So if I were to do it right here, I would want to do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I would kind of do a little thing right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, Z, click, drag over here. I'm going to hit Z, click, click, Q, 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 Q. So what this has done is it's kind of created a trace of, okay, so this room's different. The only door that's not part of this rotation is right here. And what this has kind of done is without saying anything or without putting any lights down, I've created a room that tells the player that this is the only path that is unique. Everything else will follow this room style. All right, so let's go ahead and hit play. So now that I'm in here, I start running. I'm like, okay, there's a path right here. Oh, there's a door right there. It's like, okay, there's a path here. And if you've never been in here before, it almost starts looking like a maze unless you've done it right. So when you go through here, you go through here. When you come over here, it's the exit. So once I enter this room and I look around, it's just like, okay, so where am I supposed to go? This curve leads around, takes you to this door here. But as well as if you look over here, this is the only door that is not on this curve. And you can even kind of reverse it a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do something a little different. So I could take the cube grid and I could create a spot right here. All right, and what I have done is when the player enters into this area, these walls are slanted and are pointing the player's attention towards that door. As well as I could lay in meshes. If I had tables in here, I could place them in a way. If I put this over here and I put this over here, it kind of blocks these two doors off from each other. And what that's done is it's kind of made me notice this door far more than the other. As I said, you would want to use lights, and you could use character interactions like a character coming through that door, leaning over next to it, two characters standing guard. You have everyone else over here walking around, and as you're taking them out, there's two people guarding this door, and this is the only one that has guards. I didn't want to go into super high detail because it's a pretty simple concept, but it's extremely powerful. So like I said, it's when you take your models and you design your rooms in order to create a natural moving flow for the player. So that way they don't have to think about where they're going unless you're wanting them to, and they're able to just naturally find their way using the meshes you've placed, the walls you've done, the lights you've set up. You're always telling them in a way of where to go without having to say anything and without them having to think about it. It's what allows you to play games and run through without getting lost and always make progression through a level. Even if you're not thinking about it, if you start looking around, you'll start noticing some of these things in games in order to keep you going. I hope you all found this information useful. I know, like I said, it's kind of a simple topic, but I really wanted to talk about it because it's really important, and I thought it would be fun to go over. Other than that, I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something, and I hope you had a good day.